What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the very first episode of Tony's Tech Thoughts. Now, this is going to be an ongoing series where I look at things going on in the industry that are related to tech, whether it's rumors, news, new releases, and some tech reviews sprinkled in there. And I give my thoughts on what's going on in the industry and whether I think that new products are something you should invest in. And I also try to dumb down things that some of these companies make seem very, very complicated in the process. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, stick around for a little bit. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below with your thoughts. Let me know how you enjoyed this episode because this might be an ongoing thing. And with that stuff out of the way, let's get into today's topic where we're talking about the Pixel problem, the problem with the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro. And I am not here to beat a dead horse, so to speak, but more specifically, I want to talk about Google and how they've been handling the Pixel 6 Pro and what I think they can do to improve the experience for people that picked one up back in October. Now, if you're unfamiliar and you're not a Pixel 6 owner, there have just been a few issues that have been going on with the Pixel 6 and mainly the Pixel 6 Pro, whether it is software updates not being released on time. There's been some phone breaking bugs for some users, and Google has not really been doing a very good job of managing that. And I think we're at the time of the year where we're starting to see these new releases for other phones that may steal some of the shine from the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 6, even though they were pretty good phones that came out at the end of last year. I mean, they were marketed at an excellent price. I mean, the value for them is phenomenal. $599 for the Pixel 6, $899 for the Pixel 6 Pro, which that's a little bit more debatable, mainly because they use the term Pro, and I don't think they should have used Pro whatsoever. I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, that's kind of the story of what's been going on with the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro. Google needs to get its house in order. I love the Pixel experience on Pixel devices. I've owned quite a few Pixel devices over the years. I even owned the Pixel Buds and the Pixel Buds A. Those are my go-to headphones that I use right now. I think they're pretty good devices, and what they're trying to do, I actually really like. But even still, like I said, Google needs to get their house in order. First thing they need to do, they need to get these bugs fixed. They need to fix those ASAP, and they need to not wait to fix them. Now, Google usually releases their updates on a monthly cycle, and any bug fixes that they have usually will come with the security update that comes every single month, which is not usually a problem if you don't have any phone breaking bugs going on. But the problem is some people have been having issues with their phone calls disconnecting, their data and Wi-Fi going in and out. There's been some bugs with Android 12, particularly on the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro, because I also have Android 12 on a Pixel 4 XL and it runs a lot better than it has on these devices. I think a lot of that has to do with Tensor, which is a whole nother beast in itself, but they need to stop waiting to fix those bugs. Like, they need to issue a hot fix and make that a #1 priority, because I don't know if anyone saw, but Google didn't put out their sales numbers, but they essentially said that the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro were their best selling phones to date, which means that more people picked them up, right? There's probably people that came over from an iPhone. There's probably people that came over from a Samsung device. And largely, if you've had experiences with those companies, they do a pretty good job about fixing bugs. Regardless of how you feel about Apple or Samsung, one thing I will say that they do is they jump on fixing bugs pretty fast, and they don't wait for a security update to fix it. So Google needs to take a page out of their book and get those fixed as soon as they can, because you don't want people's first experience with a brand new phone like a Pixel 6 and a Pixel 6 Pro to be negative. I mean, they came over from some of these other devices, and you entice them with like an actual pretty good phone. Like, the hardware itself is pretty good, and you just want them to have a good experience. That's what's going to convert them over to Pixel users, and that's going to keep them coming back and utilizing your products in the future. I know that Google is working on building an ecosystem. Like, some of the stuff that Google is doing has me really excited, and it's really ambitious for them as a company. But I really feel like they need to tighten that up before they move on to some of these other things. Now, let me remind you, I actually really do like my Pixel phone. The Galaxy S22 was announced, and I released a video a couple weeks back about how it had me thinking about going over to an S22 or a Galaxy device. And even though One UI is much improved, I just really like the Pixel experience because of the software. And so if that's your bread and butter, that's what's really going to set you apart in the industry. There's a trend that's going on in the smartphone industry, and I think this is why a lot of people have lost interest, is that usually you get an incremental update in like the speed of the processor, and they may improve like the image quality and the camera. Like those are the two main things that have been changed each year. But other than that, most companies are adding some kind of gimmicky feature. So once the gimmick is gone, or the feeling of that gimmick is gone, they just get bored and they look for the next product that they can buy. I mean, that's marketing and consumerism at its core and what's so good about it. But at the same time, it's also why people are bored with smartphones. I think Google really has an opportunity in this industry to be able to interrupt it, because they've never been a hardware company. They've always been a software company first. They collect a lot of data, and then they use that to train things like Google Assistant and some of the other products or projects, I should say, that they have going on. So I think what Google needs to do with the Pixel 6, and even as they put out the Pixel 7 later on this year, is they really need to lean into like Google Assistant, Googly features. Like the fact that you have so many Google products and they're integrated in the Pixel experience, you really need to lean into that. Something that's really been bothering me, and I don't know if they intend to do something about this in the future, is the at a glance widget. Like on the Pixel launcher, you can't remove it. And I remember when they announced the Pixel 6, they were saying that, you know, at a glance was going to be like this huge thing. Like it's revamped. They're going to have all this contextual information that it's going to show you. And so far we've gotten hardly anything. I mean, it shows me more often than not, like unless I have a calendar full of events, more often than not, it just shows me the same stuff it was showing me on the previous version of Android. Like it tells me it's time to leave for work, which is nice, and it just shows me the date and the weather. But I think what they could do to really improve that and make it really, really cool is like with the weather, there's on the weather widget on iOS, like it tells you like it's going to rain in the next 20 or 25 minutes, maybe take an umbrella. And I know that's because they purchased Dark Sky, which was a really cool weather app, and they've integrated some of that technology. But even if the at a glance widget like showed stuff like that, I think that would be really cool. They moved the volume, or not volume controls, but they moved the media controls into the notification shade. But I think it would be cool to put that in the at a glance widget and like have it scroll across, like something that's constantly catching your eye and justifying it being there. I mean, there's talks of them adding, being able to see who's at your front door if you have a Nest doorbell. I mean, that's cool to throw that in there too. Your boarding pass is supposed to be able to show up when you get on a plane. It's just supposed to automatically be there. But I mean, we're 5 months into release and we haven't really seen too many features come with that. So if your specialty is software and Google having all of this information about you, I want to see it on my device. Like I want to see a lot of that contextual information show up in at a glance on my phone. And I think that would really help set it apart. Google has all of these features that are so different, like call screening, hold for me, and they're putting out all these new feature drops. I think with the new feature drop, you can even text to phone calls and things of that nature. Like all of that is cool and it's useful. And I think Google needs to lean in and advertise that. Stop advertising about the camera, because let's be honest, at this point, whether you buy a Samsung or an iPhone or almost any smartphone in this price range, the cameras are going to be good. They're going to be good enough for what most people need. And the nitpicky things that they're trying to add to some of these camera apps and to their photography is really just splitting hairs at this point. And so it's not really that big of an issue. I don't think that Google needs to try to compete with the iPhone and the Galaxy devices, just because those are meant, to me at least, it appears to me, to be more for pro users. Like you look at their camera app, they have more features in their camera app. They have more options for shooting video. I mean, the S22 Ultra shoots 24 frames per second, which I actually like more than 30, but on the Pixel you only get 30 or 60. You don't get a lot of control or manual control, so to speak, in the camera, which is fine because I mean you're leaning into AI and Google software to be able to tell you what looks good in a photo. And if that's what you signed up for, then I don't have a problem with that. Just don't market this as a pro device because it's not. It's not. Let's take that out of the name. This should have just been the XL like they were keeping in the past because it's bigger. It's not pro. Adding a telephoto lens and millimeter wave 5G, none of that is pro. So I think they really need to change some of their marketing strategy. They need to clean up things going on with the software. They need to lean into the googly features that sets them apart from any other Android phone. I think that's really where their bread and butter is and where they're gonna have an opportunity to shine. And with the Pixel 7, like refine some of the issues that they're having with Tensor. It is their first foray into making their own custom chip, and they partnered with Samsung to make it. So there's still some things they have to work out. It's not bad for their first version, but I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to Tensor 2 and what they're able to do, some stuff that they're able to clean up. And I'm not trading in my Pixel. Like, if I'm just not. The software experience is just, I was gonna say it's too good, but I mean, I like Pixel software and what they're doing with their devices. I really want to root for you, Google. I really, really do. But you're making it kind of hard, and I don't think it needs to be this hard. There's also a lot of support that they've been giving to Samsung and their devices, where Samsung devices have been getting some features first. Yeah, I think that's probably a bad look, especially if you're pushing your own devices. You need to give Pixel devices, which you make, features first. That's just something that's a public perception thing. It's not going to go over well with your Pixel users and your customer base if they're getting features after other companies and you make Android. That's just not a good look, Google. But like I said, you guys still do have a pretty decent product here. The other thing I'll just briefly talk about is they need to unify these updates. I know that they're having some issues with Tensor. And so if you're unaware, the March update for Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro with the new feature drops still has not been released yet for Pixel 6 users. If you have a Pixel 5 and below, I think all the way down to the 3A or 3XL, somebody correct me in the comments and let me know. You already got the software updates. So you're essentially, if you have an older device, you're getting software updates before their latest flagship. It's a no-no. It's bad. It's a bad look for a company that just put out a phone 5 months ago. So you either need to delay those updates for the other devices and release them with the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro, or you need to put more effort into fixing whatever issues is going on with these phones and getting those updates out with the other updates as well. Unify those updates. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. That's been bugging me with the Pixel 6 for a while. I didn't want to do another review just because this is not a matter of should you buy the phone or not. I think at this point, people that have bought the phone already are the people that are going to buy it. If you haven't and you've been sitting on the fence, I mean, it's not a bad device to pick up at all. I mean, especially the regular Pixel 6 at $599. That's an excellent price for a phone. It's not a bad device by any means, but I consider myself a tech and Android enthusiast. And for me, this is just not going to cut it long term. If there's any other users like that, it's just not going to cut it for us long term. And so Google really needs to fix these things if they want to continue to have a market share in the smartphone industry. But we'll see. Hopefully somebody from Google watches this and maybe they implement some of those changes. I don't know. But that's going to do it for this episode. Comment down below. Do you agree with any of the things that I said? Is there anything that you would like me to cover that's going on in tech right now? And yeah, just give me your general thoughts on Tony's Tech Thoughts. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.